guys? Nostalgic Row here with another finds video. I'm really excited about this video. I found something that I've been looking for a while, and if you've been with me since I started doing these find videos, you might kind of know what I'm about to show you guys. But really excited. I finally found something that I've been looking for a while. But before I get to that, let me show you some of the other things that I found here recently. So one day I had some luck going to some Goodwills. Basically, had a little bit of time before I had to get to work, so I decided to hit up a few Goodwills I hadn't been to before. That was on my way there. It was kind of funny. The first Goodwill that I went to, I walked in and there's a guy holding an Atari 2600 system, similar to the one that I found last time. It was the older version. So I walked in and this guy's just like staring at it, and I can tell that like he knows it's worth something. He just doesn't know how much, and he's got his phone and he's just staring away at it. And so I was kind of laughing, but I was like, well, if he puts it back, I'll take a look at it, see at the price. But I'm not going to make it too obvious that I'm interested in it as well. But I also noticed then that he was holding a Nintendo cartridge, and that cartridge was Donkey Kong Classics. Game worth about $20 or so. It has Donkey Kong Jr. Great game. And he's holding that in his hand. I was like, oh wait, there's Nintendo games here too. So I noticed that the glass case that he was standing next to was open, and I looked, and on one shelf it had a bunch of Atari games, assuming that went with the system. And they wanted, I think, like $5 a piece, maybe $3, something like that. But either way, I quickly glanced at the titles. I'm like, yeah, well, these aren't. Yeah, I'm not interested. Even though I just got a 2600, $3 for Atari games. I know I found them cheaper before. So I was like, forget that. But then above that, just above eye level, actually, there's a stack of NES games, and you wouldn't have noticed it right away because it was all just, you saw just the black side. You had to kind of look up a little bit and see that no, that's NES cartridges. And I got excited because there's about 20, 30 of them, something like that. A nice stack, and you don't really find that at a Goodwill. So I started pulling through it, and there was a lot of good titles in there. Clearly, what happened was some poor kid got his collection cleaned out on him. He's probably cursing his parents right now. if he knew what he had he had a decent selection, and so I grabbed a bunch of them. I grabbed a bunch of repeats that I had, but I know that they're worth money and I can resell them. And then I grabbed some that I didn't have. There's only one or two games that, now looking back, maybe I should have grabbed because they're worth actually more than what I thought. But they're $5 a pop. So not a big deal. Games I can find again. Yeah, so anyway, for $5 a pop, I picked up a bunch. I'll show you here. First, starting with the games I already had. Let's see here. We have the Tetris, Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, Ninja Gaiden 2, and then Megaman 2. So a bunch of sequels there, but all great titles. All Tetris isn't worth as much, but the other three games, $10 to $20, you probably can sell them for. And then the games that I picked up for myself, for my collection. First off, you have the Blue Marlin, kind of in the same vein as the Black Bass. Super tough game. I tried playing it for like an hour. Because I was really interested in this, because it's worth about $20, I think, roughly that anyway. And yeah, I could not boat a fish. I could tie into him. No troubles tying into the fish, but much like black bass, when you tie into the bigger fish, it's next to impossible to bring them in. I couldn't figure it out. I was looking up guides. I was doing everything that they're telling me. I would get the fish within 100 yards or feet, whatever the measurement is in the game, and then my guy was just exhausted, and then they would send it out 300 feet, and yeah. So tough game to master that one, I feel. Let's see here. Up next, then, there's Mule. Don't really know much about that game. You have Marble Madness here. Marble Madness. We have here, there's something sticky at the bottom. We have Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates, The Revenge of Captain Hook. Not for sure. Don't know much about this game either. And then one game I was really excited to grab for $5 because it's really worth about 30 or so. and one that I've almost picked up before but decided not to, and that is G.I. Joe Real American Hero. Kind of a cool side-scrolling game. If I'm not mistaken, you get to select the different Joes to use throughout the level. So anyway, it's supposed to be a pretty fun game. And then the Miracle Piano Teaching System. And this is why I actually ended up hanging out for a little while at the Goodwill, because if you don't know what this is, basically what this is a keyboard, musical keyboard trainer. If you play this with the keyboard, you will learn how to play the piano. And the game itself is worth anywhere about $15 or so. And what it was that the piano, this video game came out on like PC, Sega, a few other systems, I think. And it came with a physical keyboard that you could plug into your system. And actually, to my understanding, you can't even play that game without the keyboard. I was just able to power the game on, and I couldn't get anywhere else. I'm almost positive you physically need the keyboard plugged in for that game to work. And basically the keyboard, it had a multi-adapter to my understanding. You could plug it into a few different systems. The NES was one of them. And you plugged it in, and you just literally, you could learn how to play the piano, and apparently the game was actually pretty good. It did a pretty good job of doing that. So anyway, the game itself, like I said, is worth $15. The piano goes anywhere from $100 to $200. Kind of, depends on a few different variables there. So yeah, the piano itself is really valuable. So I hung out for a while digging through that Goodwill, trying to find anything, that would resemble the piano, and I could not find it, unfortunately. So I was a little disappointed in that. But I still got the game. And what was funny is the guy that was there with the Atari system, when I grabbed all the Nintendo games, he gave me kind of a funny look, and it's just like, well, you snooze, you lose, bud. That's the way it goes. But he was so busy trying to figure out if that Atari system was worth it or not. He's probably spent about 20, 30 minutes on his phone trying to look up stuff, and then he finally turned his attention to the Nintendo games, and he grabbed one or two of them, but all the Nintendo games were listed at $5 a pop. So I grabbed all the really good titles. If there's even bigger titles in there, I must have missed them. Beforehand they must have been sold, because all the other titles is kind of just like a Mario Brothers, the first Mario Brothers, and all games that are under $5 and easy to find. So anyway, that was really good. I was really happy with what I found there. And then I went to the other store and walked in and immediately saw in their glass case they had some 64 games. So I was like, all right, we're in business today. This is a good day for Goodwill, because usually if I have luck, it's either boom or bust with Goodwills. So up first I found Goldeneye Double-Oh-Seven for the 64. This game, let's see, I paid, I think, roughly about $5 a pop for these. And this game, I have it. It's easy to get, but apparently it's going up in price. So I don't know why that is exactly, because it wasn't worth a whole lot like 6 months ago, and then it kind of had a price jump. So I don't know. It could be 64 games as a whole. I don't really follow the 64 system a whole lot. I'm just really starting to collect a few for there. Then there's Ready to Rumble Boxing. I played this on the PlayStation. Actually, I owned Ready to Rumble Boxing 2, and I remember that was being a tough game because you had to go through training. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not a great minigame player. So anything that's like, do the timing of this and blah, 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 like that's kind of how it was, and I wasn't very good. So this one, I'm kind of curious how that goes. And then one game that I played a little bit when I was younger, and it's a very confusing game, and that is South Park Rally. And it's confusing in the sense that you can't just race a track and expect to win on the first try, because the tracks are laid out. It's basically, you have this big grid for a course. You have basically city blocks, and you have goals that you have to get to. So goal 1 is to like go over here, then goal 2 is to go here, goal 3, way up over here, goal 4 over there, and it just has you driving all over the place. And it's not like a typical course. You can get there a multiple ways, excuse me. And yeah, it's kind of a confusing game, but it's worth 15, 20. So yeah, so it's a confusing game. And it's definitely going to take some practice, but it looked like it had some potential. And then The last game I picked up, it was only 99 cents at the same store, so I spent a total of 15, 16 bucks there on games that were worth, about as a whole, worth 45 bucks or so. But this was a game I played a lot as a kid, so I didn't mind paying more than, or paying a buck for it, even though it's not even worth that probably. But that is Cyber Tiger, and basically, when Tiger Woods ruled the world, ruled video games. This was a game that was kind of quirky, kind of fun. It basically played just like all your other Tiger Woods games, except this one was a simulation of his life, and you played as him as like a little kid. It had little power ups and things like that, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just kind of a fun, different take on the game. So, Cyber Tiger. Ooh, excuse me. Then, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, my parents, who live in a completely different state, and they're the reason why I enjoy going to garage sales, checking stuff out. They find games for me from time to time, and so this is a stack from them that they essentially just gave to me for free. So that was pretty nice, but I believe there is less than like $5 a game on these games. So up first we have, and they're all Xbox 360. So Beowulf, Iron Man, America's Army True Soldiers, Surf's Up, Medal of Honor Airborne, Call of Duty 3, Soldier of Fortune Payback, and a few other ones here that these are kind of more of where they're worth a little bit more. Bad Company Battlefield. You have Gears of War, Grand Theft Auto 4, and nope, oh, this one is open. I was going to say I thought this was unopened here, but it is an open copy, but pristine condition, Grand Theft Auto 4. And then two games, one that I've played, I actually own, but it's new in box, not even open, the Orange Box. Decent game all in all. It has the Half-Life series in it, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. And unfortunately, Team Fortress 2, you have to be set up as multiplayer to play, so I have not played Team Fortress 2, but I got through the Half-Life series, which is obviously considered one of the greatest first-person shooter games of all time. And I don't think it's aged as well, but it definitely had some interesting elements. And then Portal, which is like a puzzle slash first-person shooter game. Definitely an interesting game. I do recommend playing it. It doesn't take that long to get through it, but it is a pretty solid game. And yeah, I would strongly recommend anyone playing Portal, and I'm really looking forward to playing Portal 2 when I can get my hands on it. So anyway, Orange Box, complete inbox, not even open. Not sure how much that's worth really, but I believe the games itself, just regular game, is still worth $20 or so. So probably more closer to the 50 range, maybe. I don't know. And then one game that I've been wanting to play, I have yet to play it, and I probably will. There's probably plenty of people being like, "How have you not played this game yet?" And plain and simple, I haven't played it yet because I haven't owned it. So anyway, that is, and actually it looks like maybe it's missing an instruction manual. Didn't notice that before, but it has a map, but maybe that's all what's in the game because everything else has everything. So, but that is the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. Definitely a series I've been wanting to play. When I had an Xbox in college, the original Xbox, I had picked up the Elder Scrolls game and I just had started playing it, and then I ended up moving, and for that move I sold all my video games, something I kind of regret. Not a whole lot. I've been able to get most of the stuff back, but there's a few things that I gave up that I really wish I didn't. And the Oblivion series is one that I've been wanting to get into. So having this now, I'm really looking forward to playing this game for the first time and experiencing it like everyone else, and obviously now Skyrim. super popular. So yeah, so if I can get caught up with that series, we'll see. I don't play my 360 that much anymore. I'm still working on the Red Dead game there, and that's a game that I'm not into as much. So I don't know. Maybe I'm hoping Oblivion's better than that because Red Dead's considered one of the best on the 360, and I'm personally not impressed. But that's where the 360 really, Mass Effect is the only game that has really gripped me with what I've played on 360. So anyway, let's see here. Let's go with some other things here. Mix it up a little bit before I reveal the big thing that I found here. One thing that I've come across a couple times now, and so I have actually an extra copy, if anyone's interested, and that is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Now, not the cartoon series that just finished up, or the animated series, I should say. This is the cartoon series that came out. Was it 2003, I believe, when I was in college, and it was like little 10, 15-minute shorts. And basically, this was what supposedly took place in between episodes 2 and 3, and then with whatever reasons, George Lucas decided to ban this and say, no, this does not exist, and blah, blah, blah. And so all these DVDs that sold are not worth a little bit. I mean, it's not worth a ton of money, but they are hard to find. So I've actually found 2 copies recently. I picked both of them up mainly because I couldn't remember which one I had with the first one, but they're both Volume 1. And I didn't get to watch the full series just because I was in college, and eventually I wasn't able to make the times when they played. But I remember this being really, really cool, and it was really the style of it was really interesting. So I'll probably have a review of this eventually if I can find Volume 2, so I can do a series review. But it had the reveal of General Grievous. So I remember with watching that, seeing Grievous for the first time and being like, whoa, he would look cool. And then I was wrong, and George Lucas hates his fans. And anyway, so this was cool, but yeah, something now that Lucas doesn't acknowledge. Well, now Disney doesn't acknowledge either. So whatever. But yeah, something that's kind of cool. And like I said, I got an extra copy. And then the other thing with going back to Goodwills. So now that I have a child, I've been trying to look for different books and stuff like that they may eventually be interested in, because my son right now is only 18 months, not reading, but he likes to flip through books. So I'm hoping that's a sign that he will want to read a lot, because both my wife and I were big into reading when we were kids. And so the Goodwills have a deal now where a certain color book, the green tag, blue tag, whatever, so the green tag, 10 bucks for $2. Great deal. If you can find enough books for it. That's the trouble of it. And I saw there was a tag sale going on, so I looked and noticed that they had a bunch of books that I was interested in. And one of the things I picked up, part of that was the strategy guide to Tomb Raider 2. Now, I don't really use strategy guides all that much. I try to play games. I at least give games a shot for a little bit. I'm not opposed to looking up and trying to figure out how to get past the level, because quite frankly, we live in a day and age of the internet. I spent most of my childhood trying to figure out games with zero help. It sucked. The satisfaction of discovering how to beat a game is great, no doubt. But if I spend multiple hours on a game and I can't get past it, some games, depending on how much I'm enjoying it, if it takes me 30 minutes and I can't figure it out, I look it up. So I got the Tomb Raider. I haven't started the Tomb Raider series yet. Not something that I've really played a whole lot. So I now have that, and that was part of it. So really, 10 cents. Good deal. But what I was really excited about is there's a whole book series that I had to go in multiple weeks because they all had a different color tag on them. But I was able to pick them up, and I picked up virtually the entire Goosebumps series. And most of these are like the original releases. And how you know that is, you can look at the copyright, blah, 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 but you can also look in the back of the book. And you see how they have them listed out as like other books available, and you know that because the next book available isn't listed. Like if this is book 21, book 22 will not be in the back. So anyway, so I'll quickly go through these because there's quite a few, and I have virtually all of them now. So really excited about that. And these are not in any particular order other than just how I had them stacked. So that would be Go Eat Worms, Welcome to Dead House, A Night in Terror Tower, Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, Calling All Creeps, Phantom of the Auditorium, Night of the Living Dead 3, My Hairiest Adventure, Deep Trouble 2, Monster Blood, Why I'm Afraid of Bees, Attack of the Mutant, The Headless Ghost, Say Cheese and Die, again, Legend of the Lost Legend, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, Stay Out of the Basement, Came from Beneath the Sink, The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam, The Ghost Next Door. Oh, it keeps going. Night of the Living Dummy, Beware the Snowman, Vampire Breath, Be Careful What You Wish For, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, The Girl Who Cried Monster, Egg Monsters from Mars, Night of the Living Dummy 2, The Barking Ghost. I know, still going here. How I Learned to Fly, How to Kill a Monster, Ghost Camp, The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena, Bad Hair Day, The Ghost Next Door, How I Got My Shrunken Head, Attack of the Jack-O'-Lanterns, The Haunted Mask 2, Monster Blood 2, and finally, You Can't Scare Me. So, like I said, I have nearly the whole collection there, and it's one of those things that I'm sure many of you, if you're close to my age, you had a lot of them. I had, my brother and I, between us, we had all of them up to about 40 or so, and then we just kind of grew out of them. And they did get a lot sillier once you got up to 40. Like the first 10 to 15, there was definitely some like really creepy, questionable stories that kids should be reading at our age. But then, yeah, by the time you got to the 30s, 40s, they really started getting more of that sillier Goosebumps mindset to them that they just weren't as good. They didn't really truly creep you out as much anymore. So anyway, I picked up all those. I need to fill in the kind of the blanks there. So eventually I'm going to put a database together for them just so I know in case I ever come across any more. But yeah, like those 10, 15 cents, whatever, 10 times $2. Yeah, so 20 cents, I guess, a piece for those. So anyway, now finally, the thing that I've been looking for, and I've been talking about it quite a bit in these videos, and that is there's a system that I keep coming across the games, and I pick them up because they're cheap, but I don't have a system itself, and that is the Sega Game Gear. Super hard system to find for, and I'm not one that I jump on eBay a lot anymore and I buy games. When I first started buying NES games, that's what I did for some of these systems. I just went and bought them on eBay. But now I'm kind of more only if I find a good deal on a garage sale or something like that. Well, the Game Gear is something I could not find, and I had to go to different stores and different places, just could never find one. I could find games. And every once in a while I'd pick up games, but never could find a system. So anyway, I walked into one of my favorite stores to stop in at, one of my favorite game stores around here, and they had one sitting there, and it had a stack of about 10 games or so with it. And it was basically, I think the system was about $30 and then $5 a game. And the price was like 75, $80 because of all that. It was a little bit more than I wanted to pay. I more wanted to go about $50 on it. But you know, with most stores, they set their price. That's it. You can't negotiate. And these guys know me. And I saw it right away, and I was like, "How long have you had that here? Because that's what I've been looking for." And they're like, "We literally just set it down. We just got it in the store." just got done wrapping it. And so it was just perfect timing. It was meant to be. The Nintendo gods, the video game gods, meant to have me pick up the system that day. I was supposed to walk in on that day. So I was like, I'm buying it. I don't care. It wasn't even necessarily a good time for buying stuff, but I was like, whatever, I'm getting it. I'm not going to let this go. So finally, I have myself a Game Gear. And it's pretty solid. The color still comes in pretty well. With these systems, they do get a little bit more faded as time goes on. And yeah, it's one of those things that because nobody really cares for these systems as much, unfortunately, it's a lot harder to find these in good working condition. But this is a solid system. The screen's not really scratched up. Like I said, the colors are still pretty vibrant, definitely easy to play. Now my next adventure will be to try figuring out how I can get this to play on a TV screen. To my understanding is that I have to find a modded system, a system that's been tricked out so that it sends an RGB signal out. So if that's the case, I'm not going to do it to this one. I'm going to hold on to this one, but maybe I would spend a little bit more money to get that because I'd like to get game capture footage. So that's basically what I need to figure out is how to get this so I can do game capture footage because I don't use emulators or anything like that. I don't believe in that. I believe if I own the game, I should play it. Not that I'm against people playing emulators. I have no problem with that. I just don't think that I should be reviewing games without physically playing them in the console. And so, yeah, so that's what I need to get figured out with this. Or if like the Retron system or something like that, somebody comes out with one that I can do that. That would be great. If you know of something, let me know in the comments below. But anyway, I have the Game Gear, and it came with the following games. Super Monaco GP, Echo the Tides of Time, The Incredible Hulk, Jurassic Park. This was one that the only connection I really had with the Sega Game Gear was that my cousin had one, and I only saw him once or twice a year. And so Jurassic Park was one of the games that he had, and it left somewhat of an imprint on me because there's parts of it where you're driving your car and then a T-Rex is chasing you and you have to like shoot him away. So yeah, so this game, glad I have. Interested in playing that again. Let's see here, other games that it came with. Let's grab the whole stack here. We have Shaq Fu, one of the worst games ever made. I don't know if on the Game Gear it's just as bad as all the other systems, but Shaq Fu, never played it, now I have it. We have a Sonic the Hedgehog game here. I believe, let's see here, it's called, yes, Triple Trouble. Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble. There we go, get that put back away. And then we have Castle Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. Star Trek The Next Generation Advanced Holodeck Tutorial. Mortal Kombat. And Tasmania. So, let's see here. That was a total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games? 9, 10 games, depending on my count there. So like I said, I believe the total count there was $80. So it was like $5 a game and then like $30 for the system or however it added up to. So like I said, as a whole, like when you buy from a store, you're obviously going to pay a little bit more because it's such a rare system. I had no problem paying for that, especially with $5 a game. That's about roughly what they're worth. None of those games are worth a ton of money, and they even said, you know, we don't really move the games, so that's why we're just bundling it all as one big package and putting it out there. So it was basically either I buy it then or I'm going to kick myself because someone else would pick it up. So anyway, I finally found it. I feel like my year of searching for one is complete now because it really is only something that just within this last year I decided I really want this Game Gear. So I'm excited. I have one now. Now, like I said, I just need to figure out a means so that I can play the game on my TV and capture it for you guys and start reviewing these games because I have a bunch of games now. So anyway, that's it with my collection here. So again, a lot of good luck here that I've had recently. So I'm not bringing in big title games like I had this last time, but still some solid games. and books and stuff like that too. Like I like to share with you guys just kind of some other nostalgic things that I find that I like picking up. So anyway, if you've had any good luck, please post in the comments below. Otherwise, please like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my website, nostalgicrow.com, for all my videos. If you wanted somewhat of a back history, as well as you can go and check out on my YouTube channel. So anyway, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you next time.